Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of TrashTalk. I'm here with a very, very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey there, I'm Lin Lin. Funnily enough, I'm not HarleyTBS.
Mm.
Might be a shock to some of you, but just about as much of a commentary cringe lord, and here we are.
Yeah, exactly. That sort of sums up your character in one. Not HarleyTBS, commentary creator, like the usual stuff. And jumping straight into it and talking about your commentary and stuff. Your most popular video, right? I saw you made a tweet about it the other day about how your video, your most popular one, just doesn't really seem to be slowing down at all. Would you like to sort of dive into that video? Just genuinely about it, the topic and stuff. Just for people that maybe haven't watched it.
Right. So basically, me and Just a Robot had a video planned that we were gonna do for a while about the history of now at this point former commentator Omnia, right? Because
Yeah.
it's safe to say after their history, they've done some pretty sketchy shit, and they've had quite a lot of influence in the community before then, and they were just seeming to not lose it for quite a while, even though they really did not deserve it for half of the stuff they had done. But beyond that, while that video was in the editing stages, literally as we were editing it, which is why the mere mention of it was so haphazardly thrown into the video on Jar's channel.
Yeah.
Omnia had gotten into some controversy for making a video called "The Commentary Community's Biggest Flaw," where they were talking about how the commentary community were a lot of people within the community seem to have a bit of a problem with distinguishing correctly with what is a traumatic event and what's a dramatic event that wouldn't be insensitive to talk about and make videos about and stuff.
Yeah.
And that on its own is a relatively it's like a relatively agreeable notion. But the video begun by making a bunch of notions towards what physically can and can't be considered drama by basically just by saying, hey, trauma can be really, really severe events, and a drama tends to be pretty lukewarm things that a lot of people go through.
Yeah.
And to say the least, almost everyone took issue with that, because at the end of the day, it's not really your place to decide what is trauma and what isn't trauma. When first of all, Omnia is not a mental health professional, and secondly, because of the fact that human beings are different, so we respond to different things in different ways, and so you can't really draw a line in the sand like that, really, not in good conscience, anyway.
No, 100%.
And from there, they had started arguing. They had Hopeless Peaches had made a response to that video, talking about a lot of its problems. One of which being what is very blatantly art plagiarism. And Omnia had doubled down on it further, making a bunch of really, really ridiculous notions. A good few of them just being outright lies.
Yeah.
And people weren't buying that either, so they ended up unlisting both of them and made what I can describe as the most for PR apology I have ever watched on YouTube. And so that was basically the events of that situation that I had made the Let's Talk Omnia video about. And that video just doesn't seem to die.
Yeah. It seems like a video that really doesn't want to stop slowing down in views. And for you, when you're making the video, right? I feel like a lot of us do YouTube, not only just because we enjoy it, we're interested in certain topics or whatever, but the views are of course a motivator. I think if you were getting a 1 view per video, I don't think you'd be uploading as much as you do, right? for you, when you were making that video, did you think it was going to do as well as it has done and continues to do when you were making it?
Absolutely not, because I think the highest that any of my videos had at that point was I think it was like the creep show video, which was at that point I think about 12,000 views, I think it was.
Yeah.
So like I thought it was gonna do like decently because it's like the same topic, or like the same, it's talking about the same person as the video that both like me and Jar had done before.
Mm-hmm.
So like I imagine that like a lot of the people who would like come to my channel from his were gonna end up watching that.
No,
But
100%.
I didn't think it would be that. Didn't think it would be to the extent that it has gotten to at this point.
Well, yeah, that video has really taken off. I think at the time of recording this, is maybe around 33,000 views, somewhere around there. And it's a video that, like you've said, doesn't want to like slow down. And when you're creating content, right? Like I've spoken to quite a few people about how the fact that a video like that, right? I guess for you, I don't know if maybe it is for you or not, but I know like a lot of people when they make a video and it gets as big as that and sort of picks up a bit of notoriety, right? Do you feel like maybe a bit of pressure when you're uploading content from that point on, of like you want a video that does that well and like is received that well, or did that not really affect you in that sort of way?
It kind of did. It does make looking at analytics a little bit more frustrating in the sense that, because of obviously like the 1 to 10 listing that YouTube gives you for like your top performing videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is really, really frustrating to see that one video not only seemingly stay around like 3 to 5 out of 10 consistently, but it is really, really frustrating when like for example my newest video as of recording this at the moment, which was about a situation that happened in the Yu-Gi-Oh community involving someone alleged of sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
And that video did absolutely nowhere near as good, and it honestly did a lot less than usual, which to an extent was expected because like obviously it's like it's talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, it's not necessarily something that the general commentary audience is really going to be interested in. But at the same time it was really, really frustrating to an extent to see this one video that has just been consistently in the position that it is, constantly doing like not the fact that it's doing well, because obviously it's good that it's doing well, but it's annoying to see it consistently performing better than videos that were made because they were passion projects.
Oh no, 100%. Like I feel like I can relate to that as well. Like I uploaded a video on the Quet situation when that was going down, and that video performed incredibly well. I think it's on like around 24,000 views, and it's like as great as that is, right? Like I think we all want like videos to do really well, but as great as that is, it's such a demotivator comparison to like other videos, because not every video is going to be like a 1 out of 10, but you do want it to be a 1 out of 10. Everyone wants a video to be a 1 out of 10, and it does like have a sense of demotivation there, which for some people can, and I think it has been for some people in commentary especially, sort of like career ruining, like before like their channels even sort of picked up.
Yeah, it does definitely feel like a lot of it is the problem with the 1 to 10 list being there, because it really, that list is honestly one of the most demoralizing parts of this job, because it really does just get you into this position where you do make this one piece of work that's received really, really well and is consistently doing well, but because of that there is like to an extent a sense of self-inflicted pressure of constantly trying to one up that, and that gets exhausting very quickly.
100%. And I feel like, especially within commentary, right? I've like been speaking to a lot of people about this as of recent. I feel like there's a negative stigma around like being upset or complaining about the fact that your video hasn't done well. Like I've seen some tweets from a commentator called Base Azaz, right? and he was like annoyed about the fact that one video and his videos have started performing like less well, and a lot of the comments and replies are just telling him to make better content and that his content sucks and that's why he's not getting views. And I felt like there's just such a negative stigma around like views like 1 out of 10 and just all of that system in place, especially within commentary. I feel like that's something that gets dragged up quite a lot.
Yeah, and it really does, especially in the case of commentary, where it feels that even though, like, it feels that a lot of the time the main draw to people, like, returning to your content is going to be your personality, but the main draw that gets people to turn up in the first place is very frequently drama, and
Yeah,
it really does add to that level of frustration with trying to one up a video that does do well, because to an extent, like, there's always that little thing in the back of your head where you know that unless it's about like a currently ongoing topic, or if it's about something that's like maybe like trending on Twitter, for instance, or whatever the case, then it feels that you can't really
yeah,
top it, especially in the case of that Omnia video, which I would say, like, one of the reasons why it did do as well as it did is because of the fact that it was released at about as close to the perfect time as it could have been,
hmm,
because it was like fresh off after Omnia's quote unquote apology came out. And
yeah,
so I imagine there was a lot of people who were very interested in the topic at that point. So that's why I would say that video is, like, at the very least in part, as that's why the video had done as well as it had. And it's really frustrating to like I said, just like forever have that notion that you know that you can't realistically top that unless you're in a similar situation again, where another
yeah.
situation ends up going nuts on Twitter or from other commentators or whatever the case.
Yeah, like I feel like that's an issue with a lot of commentators. I have that issue as well. Like some videos, like I'll upload that I genuinely think are good, and it just doesn't do as well as compared to a video like a video covering the Sunny V2 recent stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't hit the same. And I think a content creator that like we were gonna bring this content creator up anyway, but I feel like it's good to like bring their name into it now, right? HarleyTBS, right?
Mhm.
Someone who I think has sort of been connected to your name quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that was even a part of one of your like subscriber milestones, wasn't it? Like about the
It
video.
was. It was,
Yeah,
that notion was like fuel. It feels like it was fueling most of my analytics at that point, when people like had no idea who I was and they were just like, wait, Harley, is this you?
yeah, yeah. Like I see it. Like, I've seen it on your Twitter as well, like tweeting about it and stuff. And I think Harley's a great example of someone who's been able to like do commentary, but also create like a subgenre. I feel like Harley's videos are like I don't know if you would agree with me because I know like you do like watch Harley's videos quite a lot and stuff, but I feel like Harley fits into that more serious commentary style, like in comparison to like the more jokey and like less serious like dramatized videos,
Yeah.
where Harley's videos are 100% more about like I know you did a video in like, response to like Vincent Scoreman about this, but like that like grooming type video, the more serious type aspects of like the drama side of YouTube, which I don't think is like a bad thing, and I think that's quite a good thing to get into. Seeing as like there's always like videos and like an audience for that for people to watch.
Yeah. And I would definitely say that Harley is a lot, well, they are. Harley is definitely someone who is a lot closer within the ranges of someone like, that's another good example. Well, well, like you said, it's just more close in the range of like more like serious stuff, not necessarily just in the context of like the topics they're talking about, but also
Mm.
within the delivery of what they're saying. It's a lot more serious than someone like a Cheeto, for instance, who,
Yeah.
the jokey slur every sentence type of person. It's just not like that at all. It's got a completely different focus to it.
Oh,
So,
100%.
which is one of those things about commentary where a lot of the time you'll have someone like Harley who, like, editing wise, or at the very least did. There's less so now that they use their face cam a lot more, but they did spend quite a while making videos that were edited a lot more along the lines of something that Leafy used to edit, in the sense where it's just, you know, just talky gameplay footage, stuff like that. But even with that said, comparing someone like Harley to someone like Leafy or a Cheeto or whatever the case is just a really flawed comparison, because even though they do share similarities in that regard, but they are still worlds apart.
No, I get that 100%. I feel like Harley's definitely a person that has come under fire quite a bit from commentary, right? I feel like a large amount of commentators have made videos on Harley criticizing how many videos they've made on topics about maybe like grooming, like the serious topics, right, that we've been discussing. And I know, of course, you made a video responding to Vincent Skullman, right, about like their video about like Harley and everything to do with that. And the main point of that video, right, of Vincent's, was about how like Harley uses like those grooming subjects to their advantage on their channel, right, and like overpopulates like their channel with it. Like I know you disagreed with the statement in the video and like brought up some analytics, right, that you used. Would you say that argument has sort of been overdone and overused right now? I know this topic isn't relating to you, but I know you've been like heavily involved in like defending Harley on that side.
Yeah, I will definitely say that the that side of like that argument against commentary, where people just say, "Oh, you talk about serious things too much," and it does definitely feel like a weak argument, because as far as commentary is concerned, the main draw that gets people to start watching you might be like we said earlier. It's like the main thing that gets people to start watching you might be a certain topic you're talking about. But at the same time, what keeps people watching you is what your personal take or your personal spin on it is. And realistically, I don't particularly think that the "you talk about this too much, so therefore bad" argument really works. Because first of all, yes, you can talk about something serious multiple times, but at the same time, that doesn't decrease the validity of what you're saying, especially relative to when you would release each video.
Because,
like a good example would be like when one thing when I was feuding with another former commentator, Kai Weiss, back in the day, one thing that they had mentioned to me was that at that stage I had made 3 videos about them at that point. And the reason why that argument doesn't particularly work is because of how, the biggest instance that we haven't said already anyway, is that when each of those videos were made, it was during a time when, when more information had further come forward at that stage. And that definitely does, very effectively apply to Harley, I would say, because of how with the exception of 2 of them, I would say that one thing that Harley, people do bring up against Harley a lot, is how they have 17 videos made about creepshow art, for instance. And, I mean, I will definitely say it does make for some funny jokes in videos, so I do appreciate that. But when people try to use it as an actual criticism, it doesn't really work as well, because of how each of those videos had a distinct purpose. And realistically, when Harley was making those, they were making as close to daily videos as you could do, and there was always a new fresh on the thing topic that they were going to go for. And realistically, even if that content doesn't necessarily appeal to a certain person, that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't have its audience, or if it doesn't have a right to exist. Because just because you talk about something a lot doesn't mean that you talking about it is a problem. If you've got something new to say, then go for it.
100%. And I feel like there's nothing wrong, right, with talking about a situation a lot. I've done it. I've made several videos on certain situations. I can, for instance, I made quite a few on Andrew Tate, right? I've made quite a few on him. We did the documentary together, right?
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, though, a content creator, I don't know if you've seen Sleepy, right, was under fire for their coverage of the Quiet situation, where they made maybe about 10 videos on the situation.
Do you feel something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you feel like milking when it comes to that, or like not milking, but like the like excessive like videos, right? Do you feel like when it comes to that, that there is an argument to be made that it is like a negative, like when like put into that, like for instance?
It definitely can do, and it definitely does feel like the validity of making a follow-up video ultimately does like ride or die on what the actual topic of conversation in it is. Like for
Hmm.
instance, go back to the same example I used before. Uh, Creep Show art. A lot of people had made like multiple videos on Creep Show, but I remember there was like one point where quite a few T channels, especially, would make an extra follow up video about Creep Show in an instance where all that had happened was some random troll tried to pretend to be Creep Show in a really, really like easy to understand and see through way, and people
Hmm.
were going and making new videos talking about, oh look guys, Creep Show's back, and trying to avoid responsibility or whatever the case. And that just simply wasn't the case at all, and it was very, very obvious to tell that, and quite frankly for those T channels it frankly is embarrassing. But in cases like that, I would definitely say it's not as justified, in because that's definitely one of the biggest problems that a lot of T channels especially do have, where they will constantly try to hit on that daily content for stretching to 10 minutes every single time, of course, because that's the point,
Yeah.
and doing so and making multiple videos about the same thing, while also doing so in a way where, yes, the topic did update, but in a way that is so incredibly insignificant that nobody cares.
Yeah. Yeah, like no, I 100% agree, and I'm just gonna make like a final statement real quick because I'm sorry to cut it short, but like I've just had a message and I like need to do something. But I 100% agree. Like, I feel like it differs from topic to topic, right? You can't say like milking a subject or like making excessive videos on a subject is bad in every example, right? Because subjects do change, right? Like for example, Harley Creep Show, like often developed, right? The situation developed from like video to video. Uh, but like in instance for like a lot of the quiet videos, it was just because like it was getting views, right? And I think the same can be said for like Jalen in the coverage of the Chris recent situation as well. A lot of the videos that are coming out from Jalen are just like, and like I don't mind Jalen, right? But I feel like it gets to a point where you can only make so many videos on a situation that hasn't changed so much. So no, I do 100% have to agree with you there. And like I said, I'm sorry to like cut this short, right? But I do really appreciate you coming on Trash Talk.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Just had an extra bit of time. I had nothing to do today, so I'm good.
Yeah, I do appreciate you coming on. And for everyone watching today's episode, please go and subscribe to Lin. That will be like the channel will be added down below in the description. But thank you for everyone for watching today's episode of Trash Talk. I will see you next week for the next episode.